Are you in the mood for Mexican food, but you don't want to go out for it? Especially not knowing how many bites, points, or calories you might be using up? Well, I've got the perfect solution for you here. This is my light chicken al pastor. I'm serving it with rice, or you could make tacos from it, which is more traditional. But however you have it, this is delicious. And if you want to see how this is done, stick around because it's coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now today is one of mine. I came up with the idea of doing this one because I keep seeing commercials for Chipotle and they keep talking about their chicken al pastor. Now, typically, I only hear of al pastor in like tacos and things like that. And typically, it's made with pork. But I thought, what a great idea to use chicken instead, especially chicken breast, because for me, that's 0 bites, 0 points. I'm on the Healthy Better Balanced plan, equivalent to the old WW Blue plan. You know the spiel. But I thought, this would be great if I could make my version. Now I am going to be making mine with rice, but typically al pastor is served with tortillas. As I said, tacos are common. Now this is a Mexican dish, and the name means shepherd style. Usually al pastor is cooked piece of pork on a vertical spit, kind of like if you think of a gyro or gyro, however you choose to pronounce it. And it's on that thing and you shave off bits of the meat. That's basically what al pastor typically is. And the vertical spit that they are usually cooked on is called a trompo. So sometimes you will see this as tacos de trompo because of the spit that they're using. We're not using a spit, we're making this as easy as possible. So let's go over the ingredients. I have here my cooking spray. Of course, you know I never go anywhere without cooking spray. Here I have 1 pound of chicken breast that I have cut into bite-sized pieces. We are not going to be slicing pieces off. We're just going to be cooking this so it's ready to serve once it's done in the skillet. Here I have 1 small onion chopped, and you can roughly chop that. It doesn't have to be too precise, because we are going to be blending that. That's going to be part of our marinade for the chicken. Here I have 1/2 cup of pineapple juice and 1/2 cup of pineapple chunks. Now, I'm using the tidbits because I like the little chunks. You could use regular chunks, or you could even get a can of regular chunks and cut them down if you can't find tidbits. But I like having the smaller pieces in there. And the juice is just what I poured from the can, 1/2 cup's worth, and that is the only thing that is going to give us bites or points in this recipe. Here I have 1 tablespoon of white vinegar and 1 tablespoon of lime juice. Now those are both acidic. They're going to give us a little acid in this dish. Using 2 tablespoons of lime juice, the lime might be a little too predominant. But if you don't want to use the vinegar, you could bump up the lime juice. But you do want to use white vinegar. You don't want one of those flavored vinegars, or it will throw off the flavor of the dish. Here I have 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and that is about 3 cloves if you want to mince it yourself. Here I have 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of paprika, 3/4 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and 3/4 teaspoon pepper. Now those are all spices that are going to go into our marinade, and I'm using smoked paprika because I want a little bit of that smoky flavor, but you can use regular paprika. And the chili powder, if you don't have chili powder on hand, I do have a recipe for chili powder that you can find on the blog, or it's on page 47 of my cookbook if you have that and you want to make your own, or you could buy store-bought. It's your call. All right, so those are all of the ingredients. So let me shuffle a few things around. We're going to get started. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is make our marinade. I'm just going to, in a food processor, or you could use a blender. I'm just using my mini food processor here. To this, I'm going to add my onion, pineapple juice, lime juice, vinegar, garlic, chili powder, paprika, oregano, cumin, cinnamon, salt, and pepper. And I know cinnamon may sound like an odd ingredient to put into a savory dish, but in a lot of other cultures, they do use cinnamon and spices that we often associate with sweet things in more savory things. And it is delicious in here. I also love using it on pork when I cook pork chops. It's not just for sweets anymore. So now I'm just going to put my lid on my food processor and I'm going to blend this up until it is smooth. So that looks good right there. And now what I'm going to do is bring in my chicken breast and I'm going to pour the marinade on top and get all of that goodness out of the container here. And then I'm going to toss this all together so that we can marinate our chicken and get that flavor really absorbed in here. Now I'm going to cover this. We're going to let this sit here for about 10 or 15 minutes. Now if you wanted to make this ahead of time, you could put it in the fridge for a couple of hours. And while this is marinating, I'm going to get the rice started in my rice cooker. So about 10 or 15 minutes and I'll be back. All right, so it's been about 12 minutes now. I'm heating my skillet, a large nonstick skillet, over medium-high heat. Now I'm going to just spray it with cooking spray. Next, what I'm going to do, we want to save the marinade, but we don't want too much of it on the chicken when we put it in there, or it's going to steam more than sear. So what I'm going to do is just, I have a sieve over a larger bowl. I'm just going to pour the chicken into that and let that marinade pass through the sieve as much as it can. I'm just going to help that along by moving the chicken, letting that marinade pass through. And it's not all going to pass through because there are little chunks or things in here, but you just want to get most of the liquid off of the chicken. So just keep moving that around until it's mostly clear of any liquid. It's all right if there's still some of the marinade on there. You just don't want a lot of it there. Now what I'm going to do is transfer this to my skillet and spread that out into an even layer. And this is the time, if you see any pieces of chicken that are a little larger than you'd hoped for, you can cut those up a little bit. So now what I'm going to do is let this sit here undisturbed for about 3 to 4 minutes because I want to get some color on that side that is cooking now. So about 3 to 4 minutes and I'll be back. So it's been about 4 minutes and I'm going to flip these and you can see there's some nice color on there. That's exactly what you're looking for. And if we'd put too much of the liquid in here, we wouldn't have gotten that. So that's why we strained it. Now, if you don't have a fine mesh sieve like I have, you could use a colander set over a bowl. That would work just as well. But I'm just gonna flip all of these. So now we're gonna do the same thing because we want a sear on the other side. That sear is flavor. It's called the Maillard reaction. I've spoken about this before, where the natural sugars in something caramelize and give it a lot of flavor. So we're gonna give this another 3 to 4 minutes and I'll be back. All right, so it's been another 4 minutes. Now I'm going to add in the pineapple chunks and the rest of our marinade and just stir all of this through, scraping up any of the caramelization from the bottom of the pan. And we just want to heat this through for just about a minute or two, just to get those flavors all melding and to get more of a thickness to our sauce. Now the sauce should be coating the meat. It shouldn't be the chicken sitting in a sauce. So it's not going to be a very saucy dish, but it's all stirred together, all cooked through. So now I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to cover this. You can serve it right away, but because I still need to go over the nutrition facts with you, I am going to cover that for now and let that hold some of the moisture. If I left the cover off, all of that might dry out as I'm talking to you. But that is all there is to making chicken al pastor. Now you could do it with pork as well. You could get a pork tenderloin and do that. The bites and points would obviously change, but you could do pork if that's your preference. Pork tenderloin or pork loin is the lowest in bites and points, so that's what I would go with. But quick and easy, ready for a weeknight meal. I have my rice cooking in the rice cooker. I'm gonna cook up a little broccoli to go with it, and we're gonna have a delicious meal. But how many bites and points and calories and macros are there? For one serving of this will serve 4 For one serving, it's only going to be one Better Balanced Bite or Old Blue Point because of the pineapple juice. Now, the chili powder, when I put it into the Healthy app, did come up as one bite, and I left it that way. It still didn't affect the overall bites and points, but honestly, I never count spices as bites or points, no matter how much is in there, but you can if you want to. I just left it in to see if it would make any difference, and it didn't. Now, if you were following calories, the calories for one serving of this is going to be 283. And if you were following macros, the fat is 7.4 grams. Saturated fat is 1.5 grams. Protein is 18.8 grams. Carbs are 39.1 grams, mostly from the pineapple and pineapple juice. Fiber is 4.4 grams. And the sugars are 8.8 grams, again from the pineapples and the juice. But not bad at all for a quick weeknight dinner. Now, if you enjoyed this recipe and this video, I would appreciate you doing the usual. Like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. And the recipe for this will, of course, be down in the description box. I will link directly to this recipe, as well as to the blog itself. Also down there, you will find the link to order my cookbook if you'd like to get that. It's gotten a lot of great reviews, and I thank you for that. Also down there are the links to my 2 stores. One is Fourth Wall, where you can get this embroidered apron. The other is Zazzle, which has a bit more variety in items, so I decided to make a second store just to give you more options. If you can purchase something and support the channel, that would be great. If not, I totally understand. Also down there, you'll find my Amazon storefront if I've used anything such as my Ace Kool blender set or even my rice cooker. Those are down there. As is my social media. I have my Instagram and a bunch of Facebook groups that I'm part of. So check out the description box for all sorts of information. And now I think it is time for me to serve this deliciousness. And I hope that you'll be doing the same yourself very soon. So until next time, bye.